All right, welcome back. Let's quickly take you through the markets. The local boss, when I say local boss, what I mean is our own exchange, which is the Nigerian exchange. It's continued its bearish trend on Tuesday. That was yesterday, with massive sell-offs on Seplat, driving the benchmark all-share index down by about 21 basis points to 43,745.73 points. We saw that the year-to-date return moderated to about 2.47%, and the market capitalization at 23.83 trillion naira. On the other hand, the market bread closed negative yesterday, with 14 advances outnumbering 20 decliners. Volume and value traded increased at the end of yesterday's trading session. If you take a look at the stocks that were the most traded on Tuesday, Access Core, Sterling Bank, and Transcorp were the most traded stocks by volume, while Seplat, Access Core, and Zenith Bank topped the value chart. However, in the absence of any positive catalyst today, the bearish trend is expected to continue in today's session. If we move over to other markets, interbank rates, that's talking about money market now, interbank rates fell sharply as FAC inflows increased system liquidity. The open buyback rate and overnight rate fell by 533 basis points to 9.83%, while the open buyback rate fell by 517 basis points. What I mean is 5.17% to about 9.33%. Interbank rates, analysts are saying that they're expecting it to remain near these levels that we have seen. In the Treasury bills markets, it was a relatively quiet session with low volumes traded across the board. The benchmark yield on average remained unchanged at about 10.98%. What are we expecting to see today? The market is being anticipated to trade slowly. Let's see how that goes. For the FGN local bond market, it was bearish despite some buy interest on the March 2024 and April 2037 maturities. The sell-offs were skewed towards the curve's short to midpoint. The average benchmark yield increased by 3 basis points to 14.76%. Analysts are expecting that those bearish sentiments would persist today. Now, if we move over to the Eurobond market, it was largely bullish with widespread buy interest. The average benchmark yield fell 22 basis points to 13.78%. And we're anticipating that the outcome of today's FOMC meeting in the United States will sway the market. Now, in the currency market, like I did mention earlier, the Naira fell 67 basis points against the US dollar to 446 Naira to $1 at the investors and exporters window. But at the parallel market, we've seen a free fall of that. In fact, a lot of people have told me that when they go to the banks right now to get dollars from the official window, most of the banks are saying they don't have dollars. They don't have dollars. And I hope that the central bank is also monitoring that and also listening to what people are saying concerning the shortage of dollars, even at the official window. But I also do know that the governor of the central bank mentioned some months ago that the banks will soon begin to source their dollars on their own, and perhaps by December, I think. Okay, if we take a look at the United States market, let's move over to other global markets now. Stock futures rose marginally this Wednesday as investors brace for the Federal Reserve latest policy decision at the conclusion of its meeting. A lot of people are expecting that the Fed is widely expected to announce a 0.75 percentage point rate increase, its fourth hike in a row of that size in its ongoing efforts to fight high inflation. Now, how are the European markets trading this morning? In fact, they were a bit cautious this Wednesday as global investors focused on the conclusion of the U.S. Federal Reserve's policy meeting. So all eyes are on what the Fed will be saying and doing, which in turn also affects us here, because a lot of people have taken out their phones to portfolio investors. Shares in the Asia Pacific region were mostly higher this Wednesday as investors braced for another likely 75 basis point rate hike by the Federal Reserve. Now let's check out what commodities are doing, especially with oil. Oil prices are rising in trade on Wednesday after industry data showed a surprise drop in U.S. crude stockpiles, suggesting that the demand is holding up despite steep interest rate hike that is dampening global growth. I wonder how 2023 would look like. In fact, a lot of people will be, let's even survive this 2022. Let's just survive it, you know, and see what 2023. But a lot of people, even multilateral organizations, have been saying and warning that, you know, it's going to really be a bumpy ride ahead of us. So we need to fasten our seatbelts. For gold, you can see gold is up there by about 11 basis points to 1652 US dollars there. Cocoa is up 2,348 US dollars. Palm oil is also up by 3.45%. We see natural gas trade at about $5.90 there. Wheat is doing a 3.5% upside at over 800 US dollars. We know that what is happening between Russia and Ukraine is also affecting the price of wheat, as we've seen that both countries, Russia and Ukraine, are major producers and actually suppliers of grains to the rest of the world. It's also been said that there is a looming food crisis here in Nigeria. We've seen that the floods not helping matters. You heard me earlier say what the Poultry Association of Nigeria did mention at their meeting yesterday. They are seeking for a compensation, like a relief fund from the federal government to help them get back on their feet, because the flood that we've seen, at least in the last few weeks, have affected their businesses. All their birds, all their chickens have died and all of that. So how do you expect them to resuscitate? And I should also think that some of them, or among them, you will see some people that have even taken those intervention loans. What will happen to them, since now that all their products, or all their chickens and poultry products, are nowhere to be found? Because something should be done about that to ensure food security in the country. All right, at this point, let's quickly take you back to what Godwin Emefiele did say last week concerning the announcement of the redesign. He did give his reasons, the central bank reasons for doing that. Some people agree with him, some people do not agree, but I need you, our viewers, to listen again to the announcement, because I've also seen that some people are peddling fake news across social media that the CBN would introduce 2,000 naira notes as well as 5,000 naira notes. The Central Bank of Nigeria did not make that announcement. What it says is that it's going to redesign. So the way we have 500 naira, 200 naira, 1,000 naira, it will not look like that again. They will redesign it and reissue. That is what the Central Bank is saying, and it is expected that President Buhari will launch that December 15, 2022. Hopefully he's back from London. He's on a medical trip now. So when he comes back, he will do that launch. So nothing like 5K. There's no 5,000 naira or 2,000 naira. I need to reiterate this. I need to reiterate this because I've seen it going, especially on WhatsApp messaging and all of that. So let's take a listen again to Godwin Emefiele.
We have called this gathering to inform all our stakeholders and the general public of persisting concerns we currently face regarding the management of our existing series of banknotes and currency in circulation, particularly those outside the banking system in Nigeria. As you all may be aware, currency management is a key function of the Central Bank of Nigeria as enshrined in Section 2B of the CBN Act 2007. Indeed, the integrity of a local legal tender, the efficiency of its supply, as well as its efficacy in the conduct of monetary policy are some of the hallmarks of a great central bank. In recent times, however, currency management has faced several daunting challenges that have continued to escalate in scale and sophistication, with attendant and unintended consequences for the integrity of both the CBN and the country at large. These challenges primarily include: 1. Significant hoarding of banknotes by members of the public, with statistics showing that over 85% of currency in circulation are outside the vaults of our commercial banks. To be more specific, as at the end of September 2022, available data at the CBN indicate that 2.73 trillion naira out of the 3.23 trillion naira currency in circulation was outside the vaults of commercial banks across the country and supposedly held by members of the public. Evidently, currency in circulation has more than doubled since 2015, rising from 1.46 trillion in December 2015 to 3.23 trillion as of September 2022. I must say that this is a very worrisome trend that cannot continue to be allowed. 2. Worsening shortage of clean and fit banknotes with attendant negative perception of the CBN and increased risk to financial stability. Increasing ease and risk of counterfeiting, evidenced by several security reports. Indeed, recent developments in photographic technology and advancements in printing devices have made counterfeiting relatively easier. In recent years, the CBN has recorded significantly higher rates of counterfeiting, especially at the higher denominations of 500 and 1,000 naira banknotes. Although global best practice is for central banks to redesign, produce, and circulate new local legal tender every 5 to 8 years, our existing series of banknotes, the naira, has not been redesigned in the last 20 years. The bank remains resolutely determined to achieve the objective of its mandate as enshrined in Section 2B of the CBN Act of 2007 to ensure a strong and effective legal tender. It is therefore no longer tenable to continue with business as usual, especially given the continually evolving circumstances that could impeach the optimal performance of our naira. Furthermore, we believe that the redesign of the currency will help deepen our drive to entrench cashless economy, as it will be complemented by increased minting of our e-naira. This will further rein in the currency outside the banking system into the banking system, thereby making monetary policy more efficacious. Also, in view of the prevailing level of security situation in the country, the CBN is convinced that the incidence of terrorism and kidnapping will be minimized as access to large volume of money outside the banking system used as source of funds for ransom payments will begin to dry up. Ladies and gentlemen, on the basis of these trends, problems, and facts set out above, and in line with the provisions of Sections 2B, Section 18A, and Section 19, Subsection A and B of the CBN Act 2007, the management of the CBN has sought and obtained the approval of President Muhammadu Buhari to redesign, produce, release, and circulate new series of banknotes at 200 naira, 500 naira, and 1,000 naira levels. In line with this approval, we have finalized arrangements for the new currency to begin circulation from December 15th, 2022, after its launch by President Muhammadu Buhari. The new and existing currencies shall remain legal tender and circulate together until January 31, 2023, when the existing currencies shall cease to be legal tender. Accordingly, all deposit money banks currently holding the existing denominations of the currency may begin returning these banknotes back to the CBN effective immediately. The newly designed currency will be released to the banks in the order of first come, first served basis. Customers of banks are enjoined to begin paying into their bank accounts the existing currency to enable them to withdraw the new banknotes once circulation begins in mid-December 2022. All banks are therefore expected to keep open their currency processing centers from Monday to Saturday so as to accommodate all cash that will be returned by their customers to their vaults. For the purpose of this transition from existing to new notes, bank charges for cash deposits are hereby suspended with immediate effect. Therefore, deposit money banks are to note that no bank customer shall bear any charges for cash returned or paid into their bank accounts. Members of the public are to please note further that the present notes remain legal tender and should not be rejected as a means of exchange for purchase of goods and services. We would like to use this opportunity to reassure the general public that the CBN would continue to monitor both the financial system in particular and the economy in general, and always act in good faith for the achievement of the bank's objectives and the betterment of our country in general. I thank you for listening. What we have right now is that if you pay 150,000 into your account, you do not incur charges. But if you pay more than 150,000, you pay the charges. So which means it does not limit you from paying in whether it's 10 million or 1 billion into your account. The only thing is that it says you will pay for cash processing for depositing above 150,000. So what we've done by this is to say, even if you want to pay 1 billion, 10 billion into your account, that you are not going to be charged any money. Will this decision impact the value of the naira? Well, I do not want to just easily admit that would happen, but we suspect that this would happen and that it will positively impact the value of the naira, because we don't want to do any speculation, we want to do any reality. But the point is this, I'm going to the issue of the person who talked about whether it will rein in inflation. The issue is that, like you have heard, as of September 2022, we had 3.23 trillion naira in circulation. Out of that, 2.73 trillion naira is outside the vaults of the banks. So first of all, what we want to do is move all these 3.23 trillion naira back into the CBN so we can take control of money supply again and begin to see how this will help rein in inflation. No doubt we believe it has positive impact on inflation. Timeline for mopping up, I would say today is 26th, so we have about 7 days to the end, 6 or 7 days to the end of October, till January 31, 2023, that is almost about 100 days. I think that is adequate to mop up the currency out of currency from circulation back to the vaults of the CBN. The last person talked about the bulk of the people in the rural areas. You are correct that it will impact them, particularly those who do not have bank accounts. And that is the reason, like I said yesterday at the session we had at the first year anniversary of our e-naira, We will be introducing a number of tokens, and where people in our rural areas, even if you don't have a bank account, you should be able to conduct banking services without necessarily having bank account. However, if you are carrying cash, you can go to the nearest bank branch near you. They will take your cash and open an account for you for the purpose of collecting naira back. For the purpose of returning the old naira, right, into the bank's vaults, and then collecting the new naira when we begin to release them. But we will continue to fine-tune this program to see to it that the interests of all Nigerians, I wouldn't make life more difficult for Nigerians, but you all must agree that this trend of lots of money out of circulation, out of the bank vaults is unacceptable. You can imagine doubling of the size of naira in circulation from 1.46 trillion in 2015, in fact more than double, to 3.23 trillion in September 2022. It's unacceptable, and it takes the control of money supply out of the hands of the central bank. We want to have a firm grip of money supply in Nigeria. I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
This is Moneyline with Nancy. How vulnerable is Nigeria? What are the economic challenges that the next leader, the next administration would inherit?
Part of the strategy really is to ensure that people have money in their hands.
We also need fiscal policies and actions.
The aspiration for us is to make Nigeria a net exporter of petroleum products.
We want to steer discussion to good economic policies to the benefit of the country.
It is in difficult time that nations take decisions to build and build their country.
You either make more money or you reduce your spending.
If you waste time or you spend time, what you are doing is you are wasting your ability to create wealth.
We'll still be talking about Nigeria's problems, because Nigeria's problems know the finish, you know?
Here is a new and refreshing offer for our esteemed audience across the globe. The new AIT Cloud TV is an online streaming service that offers you attractive opportunities to view our rich, exciting, and entertaining programs anytime, anywhere. AIT Cloud TV is available on the web on www.ait.app, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, and Android TV. You can also download the mobile app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Simply connect to the internet, download the app, register, and watch live or catch up on unlimited hours of exciting shows. AIT Cloud TV. TV on the go.
All right, welcome back. Let's quickly take you through the feedbacks on the currency design plans by the central bank. What many Nigerians think. We've been getting comments and feedbacks from our viewers all over the country and all over the world and what they think. So let's quickly get started across social media platforms, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. Is it? Yeah, Peter? Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Okay, that's one of my team members in charge of that. I just had to, verify that quickly. Okay, let's take this from Okopi Nalan Akpasi. This feedback came to us on Facebook. He's saying that there's going to be a friction during the holiday period, but the timing before February general election is apt. Let's take another one quickly. Okay, this is coming from Osai Uche on Facebook. That's for me, the most important thing to do now is to find a way to build the value of the depreciating naira against the mighty dollar. The dollar is mighty now. It's not just even in Nigeria because of what's happening in the United States. The dollar is so strong. You saw what happened even in the UK a few weeks ago. This coming from Adeni Adekune on Facebook is saying governmental decisions knows no time fixing. The decision making is as timely as the decision taking. Great reviews today, that is on the show today, also on business strategy development. Keep up. Thank you. That's, I think, the program we had last Friday. If you did not see that show, go on YouTube and check it out. And now Martin says this short-term move will pause round tripping within the banking system and would also curb corruption outside the banking system by preventing those who store illegally acquired cash, like we've seen, at least in recent days, outside the banks. Do we really need to get to this extreme measure, and is it backed up constitutionally or just an executive policy? Next, guys. This coming from Adeni Adekunle on Facebook. Most pressing topic, Nancy. Please keep it up. Thank you. Who else is next? Ifeanyi Okpe on Facebook. How on earth is redesigning of Naira notes their problem at this time? Naira's value has totally collapsed, and all they can offer is awarding contracts for redesigning. Nigeria, who do you serve? To just say something about this, I think the central bank also has mentioned that the Nigerian minting company will do that. Okay, let's go ahead because we have a Nigerian minting company. It's a good decision and also a welcome development that is we have to reduce all this criminal element. This coming in from Peter Akakwa on Twitter. Next. Olufemi Adebi on Facebook is saying direct attack at politicians hoping to spend the loot they kept. Thank you, Olufemi, for your comments. Adeni is saying the topmost priority is how to stabilize the economy to world standards. The monies used in redesigning the Naira should have been used to upgrade infrastructure. I hope there's a good reason for the redesignings anyway. Can't question the authority of the government. Thank you. Mohammed Sani on Facebook is saying that's a good topic on the CBN's decisions for the new Naira note. My suggestion, let the Naira note be renewed every 4 years. It will make less corruption in the country, mostly some of the top politicians. Thank you, Mohammed, for that. Uche is saying, oh, nice one, Nancy. Thumbs up to you and your resource persons. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for thanking us. Krista Agitofio says, how does this solve the flood problem? The Naira needs value, not a new look for winter. It costs money to print it. Only Lord knows how much will be drained in the name of a new design for each note. That's coming in from Gift. Gift, thank you for your comments. Next, Jude on Facebook is saying, for me, the idea is good, but the date is wrong. January ending is better. January ending, is it to start the redesign or to start the issue? Okay, well, that's what you mean. Olajide Balogun said, no better time than this. Nigerians will try to circumvent this by buying forex, which we've seen happening, especially in the parallel market. Fingers crossed on effectiveness. Aside from taming inflation, the policy might aggressively capture the unbanked and lead to the deepening of the cashless regime. Thank you, Olajide Balogun, for that comment. Prince Abayomi Arewa says, would that help? Does that reduce the naira to dollar change rate? Why are these people thinking backward like this? Okay. This is coming in on Facebook from me. Such a great topic of discussion ongoing. Also great monetary reasons, security by the CBN governor on the redesigning of banknotes. Commendable, intelligent as well. Keep up, Nancy. Thank you. Thank you very much, Annie. Okay, do we have another one? Mark Gross on Twitter says, it's a welcome development. Peter is saying it's a good decision and also a welcome development that it will help to reduce all this criminal element on Twitter. What else again do we have? Peter is saying printing or redesigning new currency will not change the situation of the country. Rather, they should make it increase in value like other countries' currencies. Do we have any more? Okay. Wari Watson on YouTube said they are redesigning the currency instead of taking them away because it has no value to us. I'm sure this government is using another strategy of losing our money. Okay. Is that all? Okay. Okay, that's all. All right. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Please keep those comments coming in. Let's actually be able to feel your pulse. But just before we go, I want to really take you through just a short analysis for you around currency redesign and even the journey or the history of currency design or currency issuing in the country. In fact, since the colonial masters were here, we know that the West African Currency Board was issuing notes from about 1912 to 1959. Then on July 1st, 1959, the central bank issued a Nigerian note. We saw that in 1963, when Nigeria became a republic, the CBN, as the Central Bank of Nigeria, changed notes. At that time, we now became a republic. In 1968, really, notes were changed again. For those that are old enough, they will be able to attest to what I'm saying. I wasn't born in 1968, but you know, the history of currency evolution, that's actually what I am taking you through today. In 1962, the currency form of Nigeria was changed, showing its status as an independent country. We became independent in 1960. In 1973, the name of the currency changed from pounds to reflect our independence to the naira. So the naira at the time was equivalent to about 10 shillings at that time. In fact, I hear my parents and all of them say, oh, the Nigerian naira was strong so much at that time. In 1977, a new 20 naira banknote was introduced. That's in 1977. In 1979, we saw 3 bank notes. They were introduced. We had 1 naira, 5 naira, and 10 naira. In order for people to be able to differentiate them, they were made of different colors. Now, in 1984, we saw that the Central Bank of Nigeria changed all the colors on the bank notes, except for the 50 kobo note. Now, if we move over to where did I stop? 1984. Okay, 1984. In 1999, we started democracy, and to expand the country's economy as well as to facilitate trade, we saw the 100 naira, 200 naira, 500 and 1,000 naira notes were introduced between 1999 and 2005, as you can see there on your screen. Then in 2007, a polymer note was introduced, 20 naira polymer note. I remember those days. It was introduced for the first time. The features on 10 naira, 50 naira, 5 naira, as well as 1 naira and 5 kobo coins were also changed, while 2 naira coin was introduced. Then in 2009, the central bank changed the 20 naira note to polymer. That is the way it changed 20 naira note to polymer. I saw the advantages and changed 50 naira, 10 naira, and 5 naira notes to polymer like you have right now. Those notes will not be redesigned. Those notes will still stay. In 2010, the Central Bank of Nigeria introduced a new 50 naira note to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Nigeria's independence. I think that was in 2010. Then in 2012, how can I forget? In 2012, the 4 days Sanusi, I did say that the Central Bank of Nigeria wanted to introduce 5,000 naira to have 3 women prominently featured on that currency: Margaret Ekpo, Hajia Agambo, as well as Fumilayo Olukoye Ransom Kuti, the first woman to drive a car, an activist. We also know Margaret Ekpo, pioneer female politician. Hajia Agambo was a deputy chairman of Great Nigeria People's Party. So it was the idea of Sanusi at that time to put those 3 prominent women on the 5,000 naira note. But we saw that President Jonathan halted that policy, so we couldn't go ahead with the 5,000 naira note. As it is right now, the only note having a female image, who is Dr. Ladi Kwali, I think is on 20 naira, where you have Muritala Mohammed on the front and she's at the back. For us, I know in 2012, a lot of women were happy that, okay, we are part of this country, we are half of the population, we should also have more women on the naira. I don't know if they will do with this redesign, I don't know yet, or is what we have on this 200 naira, 500 naira, and 1,000 naira we'll still see by the Central Bank of Nigeria. But let's see how that goes. Then in 2012, in 2014, I also remember that there was a redesigned 100 naira note to celebrate the 100 years anniversary of Nigeria's amalgamation. That's Nigeria's amalgamation from 1914 to 2014. It was 100 years within that range. So the Central Bank of Nigeria introduced redesigned 100 naira. So I hope you've been able to, digest what I've taken you through now, our currency history, as so to speak. And that's the much you can take on today's edition of the program. Thank you all for joining us. Please join me again same time on this station. I am Nancy Naji. Be the best you can be and be that change you want to see. I will see you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.
The evolution of our services started with you. Everything we've done since 2011 has been carefully considered with your financial goals in mind. Our financial universe is built upon 2 things: your financial goals and our values. By prioritizing integrity, transparency, and innovation along with our community, we empower you to achieve great things by leveraging worthwhile benefits. Our vision for you has become a reality as we've developed an ecosystem for investing. We hope that you find our rebranding to encompass those elements. If you thought that the first decade was great, wait until you see what we have in store for you in the next decade. Ultra Effects, focused on your goal.
Still not done. If you order now during this commercial, you can get 2 600-watt NutriBullets for just 69,950 naira. But hurry, this exclusive ShopX TV offer is for a limited period only. So call now while stock lasts.
The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
For this same country that generates 4,000 megawatts of power would not give us electricity in this country 24/7, but we can sell to other countries.
You would realize that from our life to our death is controlled by the government. I'll give you an example. You're not born until the government says that you're born. And that's why at birth they issue a birth certificate to you.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered